Welcome back to another episode of the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast. It's your healthy habits and lifestyle coach, Giovanni, and I help those with endometriosis and polycystic ovarian syndrome reduce chronic pain, eliminate stress, and minimize irregular or heavy periods. Y'all, we got another phenomenal episode for you today. We got Laura Speaks Life, man. Y'all already know it's about to be a vibe. If you're new to the podcast, y'all, it's that time, that one and only time where I say, come vibe with me, y'all. Welcome to the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast. Y'all, welcome to the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast. So today we have an extraordinary guest, Laura Gregory, the founder and CEO of Laura Speaks Life Coaching and Consulting. Y'all, Laura is a certified faith and mindset coach who transforms lives with her unique blend of biblical and practical practices. Yeah, she was diagnosed with endometriosis and fibroids, but Laura faced immense challenges, but turned her pain into power through holistic remedies, diet changes, and a resilient mindset. Her journey from suffering to strength is nothing short of inspiring. Y'all, welcome to the Good Vibe Studio, Laura. How you vibing today, sis?
Hey, JoJo. Thank you so much for having me. Such an honor and a privilege to be here amongst you and all your followers and viewers. Thank you. I'm feeling great. I'm excited to be here with you. Such a vibe.
Yay, come on with the vibes. Thanks for coming and vibing with us. So I want you to kind of just share at the beginning, to share with our audience a little bit about your journey, how your personal health challenges influenced your career as a faith and mindset coach, and take us to that young, vibrant girl who was so anxious at age 11 to get her period. And this is what all it came out to
be. Absolutely. So, just like most young girls, at 11 years old, all of my friends at that point in time had their menstrual cycle. And I was waiting patiently, but not so much, because I'm like, okay, when is it going to happen for me? When mommy? And then one day, between me and this whole personal moment of going to the restroom, it finally got here. And it was the moment that I was like waiting for. Oh, I'm finna tell my friends. It's about to be lit. Like, we're going to have a good time. We are all the same, right? Wink, wink. We are all the same. And a couple of hours later, my stomach started to hurt, and I just couldn't figure out what that was about. I was like, hey, listen, whoa, flag on the play, something's happening. I have these really bad pains. And because my family is so traditional, shout out to South Carolina, in their roots, right? They knew what happened. It was more like, okay, come on, you gotta lay down. I'll make you some tea. You'll be fine. So I took the tea, laid down, but I wasn't fine. It was still like throbbing, to the point where I thought something was really happening, and I didn't understand right at 11 years old. And then it was, okay, take the tea. We're going to prop your feet up. We're going to give you a half a Tylenol. We're going to get a warm rag. We're going to pray. And it seemed like the more they were doing these things, the more irritated, frustrated, and in pain I was in. So mom was at work, but when mom came home, I ended up falling asleep and woke up, and mom was just like, hey, so we got our friends today. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know what this is about. I don't like it. Like, God gave it. He can take it back. I don't get it. Right. And so she was just like, no, you'll be fine. But in that moment, which I didn't understand at 11 years old, I had extremely inherited just the worst part of having a menstrual that you can have from my mom. So over the years, as I got older, I would probably leave school at least once a month, because I had cramps just that bad. And so finally, it wasn't until I turned the age of 16 where the doctor did suggest, hey, listen, we can put her on birth control, and that could minimize some of her pain. So between me and my mom, it was, okay, let's go ahead and do it. My father had no clue nor no idea what was going on. But because my mom experienced this type of pain, and she was still going through the struggle, she knew what I was enduring. And again, it's nothing like coming out of school and your mom, because I was walking, right? I walked to school. Your mom is meeting you halfway because you have to leave school early, or because you messed your clothes because your menstrual was that bad, right? Or because you didn't feel good, nauseous, vomiting because you had such a severe situation going on. But every month it was like, all right, I'm out, to the point where I would go to the office and they just knew what time it was. So got the birth control, and yeah, so, that was just a monthly habit, right? You go to the office and even they knew, like I said, what time it was. And sure enough, meeting mom every month, it was just that moment where the birth control was necessary. And although I started taking the birth control at 16 years old, I looked at the birth control like, yeah, you cute and everything, but you wasn't really working, right? You're not really doing the trick for me, because I'm still having these pains. Now, the nauseousness, the vomiting, no, but the achiness in the legs, the thighs, the buttock area, the cramps in the stomach. I mean, it was just really heavy, and it was awful to have such an experience like that at a young age.
I'm glad that you even brought the birth control up into the conversation, Laura, because sometimes that's the only thing people provide you with, or prescribe, or suggest. They don't even think of anything else or do any type of other investigation. But I like the way that you said it didn't do nothing for my pain, but it did help with the nausea and some of the other symptoms, because sometimes people need that relief, but it's always that debilitating chronic pain that people can't really address with anything prescribed, narcotics, all that. Even when people get like strong pain pills and they're just like, all it does is put me to sleep. Like, it's so strong, it puts me to sleep, but it doesn't even make me feel any better. Have you ever experienced that too?
Now, mine is a little different, because that
Okay.
next part of my journey, I got pain pills. And it actually, when I say make me feel better, did it take away the pain? Absolutely. Like, it took away the pain to the point to where it was my regimen. So as soon as I turned 18 years old, I was able to go to the doctor and get Percocets and Tylenol with codeine with no problem. With no problem. That's a problem, right?
Yeah.
And thank God that I was just in a place, in a space in my life where that just wasn't my thing. It started off where I would take a half a Percocet. I'll never forget it. And it was like, ooh, like this okay. Now we finally getting some relief, but not still understanding, like, even in that moment, the severity or the strength of a drug. I just knew that it took the pain. I didn't care what it was. I was like, it took the pain. And normally for me, the first and the second day was just death to me. Like, those were the worst days to get a menstrual. Once I got my menstrual the first day, it was like, all right, here we go. Like, it's a whole fight that I have to gear up for. So having the autonomy to have access to narcotics in that way, it just wasn't a cool situation, but I actually had it all the way through college. So it wasn't until, I'll say, maybe my junior year, where I was like, I'm not taking this no more. Like, there has got to be a better way. I can't walk around saying, okay, every first of the month I'm gonna drop a Percocet, or I'm gonna drop a Tylenol with codeine. Like, that don't even sound right for how
It's
many
down.
years, right? And not even understanding that it's effects to this. I don't care what nobody say, right? Anything you put in your mouth, whether good or be it bad, it has an effect. And I knew that if I'm taking this pain medicine like this, it's going to have a counter effect in some way to me, where it's not going to be just about the pain, but it's going to tie into something a lot more serious at some point in time in my life. So I dished the birth control, and I was like, yo, we finna just rock. Because I don't know what to do at this point, but I know for a fact that ain't it. So once I graduated college and into my young adult life, I started doing more research for myself, because I still was not diagnosed nor identified that I was one who had endometriosis.
Okay, so you started having symptoms your first period at 11.
At 11.
16, birth control.
Yep.
18, Percocet, Tylenol, codeine.
We lit.
So we still got birth control and the Tylenol, codeine, Percocet. Junior year college, this ain't it. This can't be life. This is not something to just keep doing and not really know what's really happening, but just being in pain every single month. Which I'm so glad you also put that out there about the Percocet and the Tylenol, codeine, because I've heard from other guests on the podcast, and it'll be the episode that drops before this one with the holistic trap mommy. She was on so much narcotics and stuff to the point where she said, listen, I'm starting to get addicted and this ain't right. Put me in inpatient or something. We got to figure something else out because it's not me. I'm just so happy that it's the patients that are saying, this is too much. I know you're pushing this to try to help me, but this is a serious drug that I'm consistently putting in my body, and it just doesn't seem right. And so I'm glad that you even brought that to the picture, because so many times, and I don't know if you experienced this, Laura, but I'm hearing so many other people with endometriosis or endometriosis symptoms that their pain isn't being taken seriously when they're talking to health professionals. But then we have some other ones that say, okay, well, you're in pain. Let me just keep prescribing and pushing this. But there's no further investigation. And I think that's what you're about to get into right now, where it's like 11, 24. That's how many years? That's like what? 13, 14 years, right?
Yeah.
Of not knowing anything, taking things that's not really addressing or helping symptoms, except the birth control with the nausea. And it's just like, what's happening? How is this a real solution? And what are we doing to truly support somebody really finding a regimen for life? And I want you to go ahead and get into like your next steps of what you had to do to take control of your journey in regards to furthering getting to the diagnosis of endometriosis. But I really want to know, what was your mindset like going through what you were going through to get to this point? But by the time you got to 24, when you started to get into further research to figuring out what it is that is going on. And then, has your mother ever been diagnosed with endometriosis, since she was experiencing such chronic pain and knew exactly what you were going through and could empathize?
So, okay, let me, because I want to pause just for one quick second on something that you were talking about in regards to doctors not taking us serious about the severity of the pain that we experience with endometriosis, and taking any drug, right? Any drug, even down to, I'll say, birth control pill, although it's not considered a drug. But when you just think about this for a second, God created us. He created us. God did not create us to have to take a drug. So if he gave, because I'm like, okay, God, you gave us, this is our way of life. This is our womanhood. This is what you said we would have to go through when Adam and Eve was in the garden, right? Like he told us, like, we're going to have a near death experience when we bring, human beings into this life. So to have a menstrual, that's the way that they get here. It's a cleansing opportunity for the body. So how dare we go somewhere and they say, you know what, we just going to throw this on top of it and you'll be straight. Right then and there, your mindset should shift. Like, whoa, this is actually necessary. So I'm enduring this pain, but then I go into asking, but why? And then that's going to lead you into finding out a little bit more, one, about it, and then so much more about yourself. So at that time, my frame of mind, of course, was, initially it was like, okay, this is just the way of life. And then when you get tired of being sick and tired, then you start to think differently. Like, no, this is not going to be my way of life. I have complete autonomy and power to bring down any stronghold that's hovering over my life in order for me to live the life that I choose to live, i.e. why mindset coaching is my thing, right? Because when you start to shift that atmosphere internally, then you start to operate in a different space where you can see past wherever you are. So for me, understanding that, yes, this was completely, and I will say it in this way for this moment, inherited from my mother. But my mom is 77 years old. Back then, they're not diagnosing anybody with no endometriosis. She looked at me like, what? It's just bad cramps. No.
They're not diagnosing us with endometriosis yet. They're using our people, our elders, our ancestors to do these endometriosis type surgeries without medication. So you know the information, you know the research, you know the insight, but you're right. You're not diagnosing us. You're just using us as a part of the process to further your knowledge in medicine. Yet you're not even bringing that into the room.
Right.
You're stepping in the room with the issues. So definitely glad you said that. And you're right. Like, even, I was diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis, and I think yours was stage 4 as well, correct?
I don't even know
You
I
know
can't
what stage it was?
recall what stage it was. Yeah, I just
Girl,
it was like you had it.
stage 1 to 4 is still bad. No matter which one it is,
For
it
me,
still ain't it.
I was
It is
gonna
still
say
not it.
pick
But
one.
even with my auntie, I really agree. I really believe that my auntie, not diagnosing people, not really knowing exactly what's happening, or you're in spaces where those medical professionals aren't really well versed in knowing what you have. But polycystic ovarian syndrome, I strongly believe, and I talked to this with my aunt when I went to Sumter, South Carolina, about it, because she would work out and it'd be hard for her to lose weight. Her, my mom, me, the facial hair, and it's like that's not normal. But the things I saw in my family, I chunked them off as normal because it was normally in my family. So I don't think it's a
Right,
problem, because they would have said something like, oh, you're having that? Yeah, so the doctor told me. So it's only certain issues that stand out medically that they would say, well, we got thyroid disease that runs in our family, we have diabetes, we got high blood pressure. But when it came to some of those quote unquote women's health type of conditions, the women didn't realize they were having issues. They were
right,
just navigating through because they just weren't in spaces where people were
right.
knowledgeable. So I completely understand what you're saying. Like, your mom wasn't diagnosed, but the great thing about it was her pain and her experiences qualified to be able to have empathy and compassion to be able to help you navigate through what you had to go through. And I'm so grateful for that, because sometimes people just
Absolutely.
don't understand, and it's the opposite. It's just go to school.
Oh,
Everybody got one, and so very dismissive. And I'm so grateful she wasn't like that.
she was not. She was not. And when I say literally, because you made it very plain, right? It's just my mom wasn't diagnosed, right? So she really didn't have a clue, but because, like you said, she went through it, so she was able to understand and relate. Even now, when we have discussions or conversations about it, and she would just shake her head and say, "I'm so sorry." My mom is real lit on that. She just look. She'd be like, "I'm so sorry," because I recall a specific day my mom was sleeping on the couch and I wanted her to wake up to play with me. I remember this, and I kept shaking her. She was like, no, 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 don't shake mommy. I'm like, why not? What's wrong? She said, no, 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 mommy's stomach hurt. I will never forget that. And just the exhaustion of pain that I saw her suffering through, it was like, oh, that's what's going on. I get it now. And now her and I just, like, we tap into each other because she definitely understood, as I was trudging along through the journey. But now we're at 24 years old. And like I said, when you just tired of being sick and tired, and you say to yourself, no, there has to be another way. There's no way that I'm going to have to function through life like this. Then you start to exercise other opportunities to see what you can take advantage of. So for me, the doctor that at that point in time in my young adult life that I had now connected with, she was very like on it. She was like, yes, you have endometriosis. She said, you have a thing called endometriosis. And I'm going to be honest, I don't recall a stage. I don't remember
Mhm.
saying stage, nothing like that. She said, you have what is that? And when she explained it to me, she said, and then she said, and I'm going to tell you right now, if it gets worse, she said, we're going to have to do surgery. Whoa, what is happening? All the way from 11 years old, now we come to this. It's gotten that bad. She said, yeah, if you're having this type of pain, it's spreading and we need to clean that up.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. So she said, for now, what we're going to do is, she said, if I'm going
Pause right there,
to
Laura.
pause for the cause.
So when she said if it gets worse, it's spreading. Y'all, just in case you don't know, endometriosis is just not something that's in the uterus. Endometriosis is a whole body condition. Endometriosis can travel to your lungs, it can travel to your brain. Endometriosis has no boundaries. So if you are experiencing these type of symptoms or conditions and you want to be taken serious, don't delay on getting the help that you need. Keep advocating for yourself. Look for healthcare professionals that specialize in the things that you might suspect your body is going through, so you can get real answers. Because if you don't, it could cause even more problems. So like for me, stage 4 endometriosis, it was my fallopian tubes were all stuck on different things. He had to do reconstruction with that. I had a cyst on my right ovary. My appendix had to be taken out because it was covered on that. It was on my bowels, it was on my bladder, it was everywhere. And I, unlike Laura, I didn't experience the debilitating pain every single month since I got my period. I had bowel movement pain every time my period came on. And every now and then I might have been nauseous, but I never knew. Oh, and towards the real diagnosis, the lower back pain, where I thought something was wrong with my kidneys, like that just took me about, I didn't know what was happening, if I need to drink some water or what. But some of the symptoms I chunked off and passed by, like, I don't know what's happening. Let me just keep doing what I'm doing. So some people aren't going to experience the same pain every single month or almost every day, because some people experience it every single day, just to be in pain, but the period not even being on. But I just want to take that moment to say, y'all, endometriosis is a whole body condition. It is not just in one place. That's why you can't just say it's womb health, because it goes outside of the womb. It travels wherever it wants to go. So I just want to say that, Laura. Go ahead.
That's good. No, that's good. And it was necessary for sure, because I didn't elaborate on that. However, however, that was 24 years old. Yeah, I had surgery the next year. And not just the next year, but it was like I had surgery the following January. So meaning that I was at the point where it was no more waiting. It was no more enduring. I didn't want to endure.
Pretty much waited for 14 years.
That's
what you mean.
That's why I don't no more. We're not waiting for anything anymore. We need to deal with this. We need to confront it so that we can overcome it. That's
about what year was this, Laura? What year was this? I know what age it was for you, if you can remember.
It was in 2009.
Okay, so that makes sense. So my surgery was 2020, and now they're saying you can't confirm it's endometriosis unless you do the surgery. You go in laparoscopically and you actually go in and see if it's,
really?
That you can't just say, oh, this is what I think it is. You actually have to go inside to see. And so for me, it was, I did not want the birth control. I didn't want to just put stuff in my body to help with the pain, because the pain wasn't all the time. So it's like, why am I taking something for pain if it's not always here and it's not treating anything? Let's make sure we know what we're suspecting it to be. And that's when I went and had the laparoscopic surgery. And when they went in, he thought it was going to take 1 hour, and it took 4, because it was everywhere. And the reconstruction that he had to do and the things he had to take out. So it was a lot more severe than they thought. And so I'm so glad that it was only an additional year for you, because you had already experienced the signs and symptoms since 11. And so we clearly know that thing was doing the thing that it was doing, and the scar tissue was building up. And I'm just so happy that you do that. So maybe in 2009, they suspected things and they maybe tried some stuff until it was unbearable, and then they went with the surgery. But now the gold standard is to actually have the surgery, so they can go in and clean up all of the scar tissue and do the reconstruction and really know where it is, how's it going, what's happening. So then that way you can take another approach. So I just wanted to ask that question, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's good. So I ended up having the surgery. And once I had the surgery, my doctor, she was like, you did well. She was like, and we got it all. She said, I never forget her word. She said, be careful. You are very fertile. She said, no activity. She said, because all I need you to do at this point is just rest, allow your body to heal, she said, but you should be good to go. However, I want you to take this medicine for this one little white pill. I don't even remember the name of it. I don't care to know the name of it anymore. She said, I want you to take this one little white pill once a day. And it was, when I say it was the tiniest white pill I ever saw, I was like, I feel like this is more drugs, but I'm, because I honestly can say I've never been the one. I don't like pills. Because I feel like we natural. I don't feel like we need to be taking no medicine. Like, I can't get it from, the trees, the ground. Come on, what is this? And so she was like, yeah, she said, well, if you don't take it, it's going to grow. It's just going to grow right back. Then why did I get, now I'm all confused a little. Why did I get the surgery then? She was like, well, it was necessary for us to clean all of this. She said, you had severe scar tissue. You've been carrying this for a while and you've been enduring the pain. You said you no longer wanted to endure the pain, but I also don't want to do the very thing that I was trying to escape, which is take medicine. So, okay, fine. So I'm very apprehensive about it, but because I trust my doctor with all of me, I take this white pill. And when I tell you, this white pill had me premenopausal, I bled for 6 months straight. I need all her listeners. I was all my listeners, all the listeners. I bled for 6 months straight. I woke up in puddles of sweat. I was very exhausted and tired. 6 months. And to the point where I would call the office to say, you sure I should be taking that? I said, something is wrong. The hair that you see, I had straight hair this way and it was even longer. It was patchy, breaking off. It was awful. It was awful. I couldn't keep nothing down. And it seemed like it was taking so much of me. So it got to the point where I made a call and I said, I need to come see you today. When I went to go see my doctor and they put me in her office, she was probably 5 minutes coming in and I fell asleep. And when she walked in, she said, oh, because I looked exhausted. I looked just overwhelmed. She said, oh, she said, baby, what's going on? I said, I think something is in this white pill and I cannot take it.
Right.
She said, immediately, my doctor said, throw those pills away. She went to her cabinet. She pulled out this big binder, rusted folders in between. And she said, we're going to have to go to natural approach. I said, oh, let's go. Let's go. When
I think she didn't do that originally since she had the information, but I don't know like what it looked like on the inside to why she thought the white pill would have been.
Right. So I think she wanted to massage her primary way of going about this, right? Because one thing I could tell you is my doctor, she's not biased, but at the end of the day, she carries a license. So she probably, and I'm just only assuming this to be true because I trust her even to this day, where she says to herself, well, let's go ahead and let's do the regimen. This is what happens. You have this surgery and then you take this white pill. However, it didn't work for me. And her words were exactly this. She said, your body is too pure for the pill. It's not going to be able to accept it. It's going to take you through all of the pain and things that you're going through if you continue to take it. She said, so we're going to go the natural route.
Girl, your body is too what?
Pure. Pure.
Absolutely love that. And that is probably why the Tylenol coating, the Percocets, all of that really wasn't doing what you really wanted it to do. The birth control, because your body was too pure for all the other things. And then your mindset. And when I say mindset, I think of thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Your beliefs wasn't in a pill or medicine. Absolutely. You always knew it didn't settle with you that entire time. And so what else I thought about with that mindset that you have in regards to, approaching or healing your body, like she brought that book out and she was ready to let you know the way you were going to, address this and heal and really start seeing things happen for you. But not everybody has that mindset to approach things the holistic way. And that to me was my reason why I thought she might have gave you that one pill, because it's so easier for people to say, here, take this so you can keep living the way you're living while it's addressing some of the things that you might be experiencing, hoping it will help. But when you start tapping into a holistic way of healing, you have to be intentional about your mindset, your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, about the foods you're eating. Like you said earlier, the things you're putting in your mouth, whether it's going to be good for your body or bad for your body, you won't know until you start putting it in your mouth and consuming it on a regular. And then as well as when it comes to like your movement, and I like to call it my M to the third degree healing empowerment formula. And I know you're going to get into movement, but let's talk about when she cracked open this journal and said, we're going to have to do this the natural way. What did this look like? What was the natural way that she wanted you to approach healing from endometriosis after you've had your excision surgery? And she's gone in to clean everything up. And this pill for 6 months then got you losing your hair, bleeding for 6 months. I can only think about you being anemic with all the blood that you were using. And it would just scare me to even think about all of this. And for you to be committed to taking it for 6 months, I know you trusted her, because I would have been there after probably 1 month, no longer than 2, if nothing would have changed or shifted. Because I know after surgery, you kind of have to give your body that time to kind of come back. And then when she went in, because I know for me it was endometriosis, adenomyosis, PCOS a few months before, but they found 2 fibroids in my uterus when they were in surgery. Did she find any fibroids while she was in it too?
No. Okay. I didn't get diagnosed or they did not find fibroids until 2 years ago.
Oh, so fibroids came later. But let's not get into fibroids yet. Let's tell me about the holistic approach that she wanted you to start.
So she opens the folder and immediately it's about the foods I can eat and the foods I can't. Easy. It was simple. She gave me a list of teas. She said, I want you to go get these teas. She said, I want you to stop eating dairy, no pork. Like, she broke it down. Make sure you eat a lot of green vegetables, a lot of raw vegetables. She said, I need you to do this because you have to build the foundation at this point. You have to start allowing your body to get acclimated to these new foods and the regimen in which you're going to go through. She said, and it's very imperative that you find a lifestyle in the gym. She said you gotta do a little bit more health wise. And at that time, just getting out of college, 2 years shy of it, I was okay. I was in the band, so I was okay. But was I in the right shape mentally, physically, to go on this journey of my body healing? No. So I had to be, like you said, when somebody is telling you to go a different route as it relates to your health, in a natural form, you have to be intentional about it. So she told me.
So what did that mindset shift look like for you? Like, what did you actually have to say to yourself? What was your thought process with shifting it? Because I know you the mindset coach. So like, first give the people some of the things that you're thinking, okay, I got to change the way I'm eating. I have to change the way I'm moving my body. Like, what first had to come through your mind to make those shifts? And then don't skip over the fact that you didn't tell us what kind of tea she wanted us to be sipping on.
It was definitely, it was dandelion.
Okay.
It was dandelion tea. But for me in that moment, my mind was more like, are you going to continue to keep doing the things the way you've been doing them? Because you're not getting the results that you say you want, right? Do you want to keep experiencing this? Let me say it this way. God took me through such a process during that time. I wouldn't want anybody to bleed for 6 months. That's unheard of. When you say anemic, I had to get tested 3 times because I lost that amount of blood. Like, at this point, I had no energy. I was walking through life like a zombie. So when it comes down to looking at where you are versus where you want to be, taking that mental shift just to spend time in the essence of thinking, like, where do I want to go? How do I want to see myself? How do I want to show up at work? How do I want to be around my friends and family? How do I want to be able to produce and be a part of good culture and impact others? Like, how do I do that if I'm not the best version of myself? So it took a minute to really ponder on the things that I had already experienced and compare them to the things that I now wanted to have the opportunity to live in and to walk through. So I would tell you all to start there. Like, if you're not enjoying the moments in life right now in which you're enduring or going through, you have to really say, is it worth it? You have to really think about the things that you're now saying, okay, I'm gonna have to, chill out on this because it's not worth it at this point. I want a better result. I want to live life. God said we should have life and have it more abundantly. I'm going for the abundance. So
I know that's right. Come on, I'm going for the abundance.
I'm going for the abundance.
That's it right there. Like, for me, it was there because I love cheese. Like, when he was, people were saying like no dairy. My doctor was even I was about to say crazy. He was as strict with his approach or his thought process to like no fruits. And I was like, I ain't never been to a doctor that said no fruits. Like, I got a background in like health promotion, public health, so I'm aware how important fruits, vegetables, and he said no fruits just because of the sugar, in regards to PCOS, the insulin resistance. But it's like choosing the right fruits matter, and how much of that fruit or those fruits that you're consuming. So it's, again, sometimes I don't think they realize who they're sitting across from to say, these are the things that I think will be ideal. Are you willing to handle this? Yes or no? If not, now we can give you some type of temporary fix or some type of medication, but help people make those decisions, get to know them first, because that's all you had to do was tell me the right fruits. Then I know what I'm putting in, with the smoothies and the juices and what I'm consuming. But it was the no sugar for me, and eating a whole bunch of fat and meat. And it's like, I'm pescatarian. I don't even want to think about eating any type of meat outside of seafood anymore. And when he said no cheese, no, and for me it was the gluten and the soy, I'm like, but bread and pasta don't even taste like they should exist without gluten. But it was what you just said. I wanted to feel good. I wanted to enjoy my food experiences, but I also wanted to enjoy the moments right after I eat, the next day after I eat, to still feel good, not feeling sick to my stomach, pain, nauseous, because I was eating stuff that I knew my body didn't deserve. It wasn't good for my body, but it was good for my mind, my hunger, my cravings. And that's just not what it was. I wanted to live abundance. I wanted to be vibrant in life. And I wanted to find those food experiences. If I've eaten this way for 30 something odd years, I don't have to be like, oh man, I sure could go for some Zaxby's chicken tenders, or you know what I'm saying? I done had it before. I know exactly. I can recall how it tastes. I don't need that anymore. But if I'm embracing foods that are good for me and good to me and finding those great experiences, girl, podcast on me. I sat down the first day and I had a stuffed avocado from Loving It Live. That thing was amazing. Had I not been, I would have been eating just the regular stuff that was convenient around. But it's like I'm getting even more exposure to the creations that raw foods provide. And I'm so glad she also told you raw vegetables and fruits. Like clearly there's something about eating foods that haven't gone through any type of heat or process that your body just needs. And I'm I think day 115 on my raw journey, and it's like seeing the information, it's just like your body is able to really break down and process the foods when you eat it raw. And it's like you're not stressing your body out trying to figure out what all it needs to do and where all it needs to go. It simplifies things. And it's like, why not live a more simplified life that is helping you heal, that's making you feel good and giving you that foundation you need? Because like, girl, look at me and you. Neither one of us look like we about to be croaked out. Neither one of us balled up in a ball like we have been before in chronic pain because of not only our mindset shifting, but embracing the different foods that are giving us that functional nutrition to be able to do it. But get us into this movement, girl.
Yeah, but I mean, but to that, what I'll also share with everybody who's listening is, yes, the doctors are the doctors and they do have a responsibility to us. However, you are the responsibility to yourself. Because although doctors have the knowledge and they went to school and they have the experience, no one knows your body better than you do. Period. So
nobody.
Not one. So when you go to the doctor, yes, listen to what they're sharing, but know that there are going to be adjustments that you need to make based upon what you need to do for your body. Because the one thing my doctor told me, and I will never forget it, he said to me very kindly that God gave us all our own individual unique bodies. So just because like I was able to eat fruit I'm able to eat fruit on my journey. JoJo can't consume as much, or JoJo can't consume the fruits that I can consume, right? We're all just different, but you have to see and know what works for you. So part of this journey and you walk in this new walk is you identifying who you are. So the more you identify who you are, the more you understand your journey, the process, and what it takes in order for you to go through.
Let's stop right there. Y'all, she just said it's your journey. So it's your Healthy Habits and Lifestyle Coach, Giovanni. I have the My Healing, My Journey program. It is going through mindset shifts, ways to show up for yourself, minimizing stress, prioritizing sleep, hygiene, just how you love and care for yourself, what you believe that your body deserves. Then it goes into mindful eating. Y'all, if you haven't already, click the link in the description of the video, get your free anti-inflammatory guide. A lot of times when you do the research, endometriosis is an inflammatory condition. So if you start reducing and eliminating the inflammatory foods, the stress that causes inflammation that show up in your panel sometimes, get into the lifestyle. So grab that guide and start eating fruits, vegetables, juice, smoothies, looking at what it looks like for stress management, looks like for what you're eating, and then the options for you to start moving your body. Get that free guide. But if you are wanting to really embrace the journey of exploring what your body needs, what your lifestyle needs to look like right now as you approach how you feel about yourself, what you believe about yourself, how you minimize and manage stress, go ahead and finish that form that's in the description of this video so I can help you go on that journey. Yeah, it is all about you. And again, what works for me, what works for Laura, is not going to necessarily work for you, but it's in you that you embrace the vibes to explore what it's going to look like for you, and finding the meals, finding the activities, and finding the ways to move that are best aligned for you. So take the information, but it's up to you to apply it and be empowered so you can have that empowered life. Both of those links are in the description of this video. Laura, let's get into movement, baby.
Yes. So at that point, now I'm off the pill. I have, the best foods that I need to eat, the foods that I know no longer need to serve. And I was like, you know what? I got to get healthy now. It's time to take it to another level. So I literally cut all my hair off. I went down to a one. Literally, I have a picture I'll share with you, JoJo. I cut all my hair off and I joined my CrossFit gym, which I'm still a member to this day. And from there we worked and I got in shape. And next thing I knew, I didn't even have any pains. Like
Let's
get my
go.
menstrual, and of course, God gonna let you know it's there, but it didn't bother me at all. And
That's
it went
good.
on like this for a while. Like when I say for a while, because there's a hook in this story. Went on for such a while, and it was like, oh, okay, cool, this is great. Even down to, again, keyword journey. As I was going on the journey, it'll be a day or two in the blue. Yeah, I have a slice of pizza, and then not realizing, but then my menstrual comes on the next day, and I'm like, ow, something hurts, right? Just regular cramps, but it's like, oh, I did have a slice of cheese pizza, right? Your body will remind you. So don't get it twisted as you go along. If you do find yourself doing things that you normally shouldn't do, or you've gotten out of the habit of habitually doing it, your body will remind you. But at the end of the day, it was a great opportunity for me to go in and get physically fit. And then I was just climbing and just moving ever since then, and just doing all the right things all while eating the things that she suggested. So
Did you feel like because you were reducing your pain, you were feeling good about yourself, that helped you continue to stay
yeah,
motivated and really make it a true habit and be a part of your natural routine? Like it was in the feel good that you were
yes.
just like, I don't want to feel bad no more,
Because
so I'm going to keep doing the things that make me feel good.
absolutely, because you know how they say when you've been down, you know what rock bottom feels like. You don't want to be there again. You like living on the high. It's absolutely great here. Why would I want to go back down to that? Especially, this is the key right here. You start to get creative, right? You start to try different foods. You like, oh, this is not as bad as I thought, right? You start to eat different things. You start to concoct different meals. You start to have your own way of living, and you start to get better at, even when you travel out of town, or if you have to fix your meals before you leave. Like you just get, I'm telling you, it becomes a little like obsessive, which is a good thing, right? Because now you're really being more and more intentional about how you take care of your body. So yes, it's going to drive you to continue to do the things that work, because you no longer are going to start, or no longer will be experiencing the things that you've experienced in the past.
And just to be relatable, because that feels good, and we know we
Mhm.
just went through Laura's journey of how she started to make those lifestyle changes and what situations in her life allow her to switch her mindset to embrace those things so she can move forward living the way that she loved to feel after making those decisions. But a lot of times we speed past into what it looked like moving forward, and we don't give a little credit to grieving the life that we used to have and what it used to look like for us. And so you heard her say every now and then, I had the cheese pizza, or I had a piece of pizza, and my body was like, nah, we don't do things like that. I thought you already knew that that doesn't help you, it hurts you. And you're only feeling what the effects are. You have no idea what that pizza is doing on the inside of your body, and how what's growing, what's festering, what's popping off, because you can't see it. And so when you are intentional about what's happening on the inside, then it kind of helps propel and push you forward to what it is that you feel like you're doing the absolute best, and pretty much how you love yourself, on the outside, by making those decisions. So I do want to say, take the time, get the right person to help you grieve the life that you used to live. So then that way you can really embrace with all intentionality and wholeheartedness the life that you know you deserve and that you want to go after. And that is what's going to help you truly create the healthy habits and lifestyle changes. Because if you're bitter about it and you're just looking for a quick fix and you mad that you got to eat the fruits and vegetables, your body is going to receive
Yes.
that, and it's still not going to allow you to get everything it needs from it. And so, just like she said, you're going to find the cheat codes, because consistency is the cheat code. So if you're consistently eating fruits and vegetables and finding the foods and the combinations and experiences that you like, you're going to be looking for those no matter where you are and what you're doing, because now you know what your body needs and what your body responds to. So even when you're traveling. So I love that you said that. And people who really love you and see that you're doing this for you and it's helping you not be in pain, they're going to make sure that you're included in the things that they're doing, and they're going to be options for you as well, because they see you making that progress. And it's bigger than, oh, she's just a health conscious person. No, she's loving herself. No, she's on this journey to be intentional with healing, because it never ends. So I thank you for that. But CrossFit, I tried like the burpees and the intense things. Like before I was diagnosed, I would get the Groupons, and I would, get a Groupon for a friend. So we're waking up in the morning and doing the group fitness classes, or we're doing like some of the high intensity training workouts. But it was after the endometriosis that high intensity didn't work well for my body. And I don't know if it's for the adenomyosis that's on the left side too, which is just endometriosis in the pelvic muscle area, the uterine muscle wall, pelvic muscle wall. And so it didn't do me well. I started to find pain, which again, Laura said, your body is up to you. What works for me might not work for the next person. So you have to explore and figure those things out. Were you able to always still do CrossFit? Like, does CrossFit always make your body feel good? Have you needed to do yoga and Pilates on another day to slow things down? What does your movement activity kind of look like?
Okay, so let me go ahead and just give y'all a real short trim of the journey, because I'm talking about a whole journey. When I say CrossFit gym, it's just because initially that's what my gym was known as when I first started in 2010 or 2011, right? It's 2024 at this point. But over the years, I started out CrossFit. I was in my mid 20s, and then it navigated into us now being known as a functional strength training facility. I've done Pilates, I've done yoga, I've done water aerobics, right? I've done swimming, right? Whatever, and it doesn't matter, even down to whether it's endometriosis, fibroids, whatever ailment you have to, again, meet yourself where you are and finding the one that works for you. So I've tried it all, and all are effective as long as you stay consistent. So I'm a big advocate of all types of work. I've done savage races. I've ran 5Ks. I've ran relays, obstacle course racing, like all the things in the mud, all the things, right? And now I'm at a different place in my life where it's like, okay, functional strength training and Pilates is just the thing for me at this point.
I love it. And I like hearing the evolution of the gym itself. You know what I mean? And the way that they're using the proper terminalities, because at the end of the day, movement is essentially what you need to function.
Yes.
And so I like the evolution of the gym as well, from just a CrossFit, high intense focus space, to now something that offers so many different forms of intentional movement to help the function of the body. So let's get into this. Let's take a quite shift in regards to like your faith and your mindset, as like the life coach. Chronic pain kind of comes with a significant emotional and psychological challenge. We all know that. So it's hard for people to say, okay, I can embrace the food, I can embrace the movement, if they're really having a hard time navigating through their thoughts and their emotions, which is why we talked about mindset first. And you are a mindset coach, and that's what we go through in the My Healing, My Journey. We attack mindset first. What are some strategies that you recommend for maintaining emotional well-being in the face of such debilitating and chronic pain that endometriosis people, diagnosed or not diagnosed, kind of experience?
Okay, so the very first thing right off the top of my head is you most certainly need to write. You need to journal. You need to put your thoughts on paper. You need to put your activity on paper so that you can see. It'll start to show you what's happening with yourself. Because sometimes it's just a moment in time where we take it in when we experience it. But you have to write it down, because your journey will be on paper, what works, what doesn't work, and what's going to lead you into your next decision, right? So I would recommend that people write. I also, of course, would recommend you get a wellness coach. That's very important. My coach today is my coach who I had when I started, when it was known as CrossFit. The evolution has changed because now he identifies his clients and saying that we're not young in our 20s anymore, right? We're late 30s, early 40s, and they're in their 50s. So I have to meet them where they are now with the life that they're living now. So you want to make sure that you're tapped into someone, a wellness coach, right? And that can, they can wear many different hats. We have Empower Plates right here, right now with Coach Giovanni, right? She's excellent at what she does and she knows the play. She's giving it to y'all right now on the live, right? So y'all understand what you can do in navigating in that space. So you want to make sure that you take it into your own hands to write it down. You want to make sure that you're vigilant about getting a coach. And for me, as the faith and mindset coach that I am, you got to take action. We're not just going to talk about it. You can come here and you can get all this energy. You can get all this smoke. But what you going to do with it? How you going to show up for yourself? Right? Because it's always the moment where when you look back at the things that you're writing, when you see the experience on paper, then you know it's real. So what are you going to do about it at that point?
I like that. I like writing it down. So it's no longer something that you're overlooking because that's all you see because you were the visionary person who actually wrote it down. We were episode that dropped today with Sia, the transparent therapist, when she talked about journaling. It was a new approach to journaling that I had never heard of. And she was saying, log your emotions and your behaviors. So then that way, you are not only just saying what I went through today or what you want to summarize in your day, but pretty much how are you feeling
Yes.
today and what made you feel the way that you felt, and then what did you actually do, you know? And I really like that approach because it was something that was different to me. But logging your emotions was big because that comes back to a place of awareness,
Absolutely.
awareness. But then when you said you have to be willing to take action, don't just talk about it. Intentionality, progress, all of that is in the being, and in the being is in what you're doing. And so if you're not doing it, then you can't become it. And so you're just talking about it. So you're just aware of something, but you're not being able to truly enjoy the benefits of it because you're still on the sideline. So I like the approach that you gave in regards to that question, that insight, and that was just some of the thoughts that kind of came to my head. So taking what you just said, Coach Laura, to the next step. So those struggling with health issues, what are some daily habits, practical daily habits or routines that you suggest for people to incorporate, ways to manage pain and just improve their quality of life so they're not just talking about it?
Right. So the first thing I'm going to say is they need to get your information. I know that you have some really good information that'll help set the trajectory for someone's day. And you need to plan out your day. Like plan out your day, write out what your day would look like if you incorporated some of the things that Coach Giovanni, shares with you, right? It's just small habits that you're trying to create for yourself. You want to wing in some new habits at least once a day. So I would just suggest, let's start off with tomorrow. If you're not doing anything different today, cool, we got tomorrow, prayerfully. So when tomorrow comes, let's design out what that would look like. So in the morning, you're usually eating what, right? Let's just try to put something in there for breakfast, right? In the morning, are you seeking, I say pray, excuse me. Are you praying, meditating? Are you doing something where you're tapping into yourself? Let's just do it for 5 minutes, right? You know, are you going for a walk? Are you clearing your thought throughout the day, just reflecting on what happened throughout the day? Let's do that for another 10 minutes, right? Weave in some of those good habits and start to get consistent with that as you plan your day. And I'm going to tell you, what Coach Giovanni and I talked about today is this, once you get that momentum, you start to see things shifting, you're going to want to do more of it. But you have to start with the day. So let's devise a plan for the day, right? Let's weave in some things, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whether it's food, right? Create a new habit in any way that you can. getting her information, getting material. I don't care if you Google something, but Google the right things that's going to have a positive effect on your body, your mental health, your physical health, and just start to weave it in a day, you know, that you would particularly do other things, and just start to just build on that. That's what I would suggest somebody do.
I like that, Laura. I do. And I think like my biggest takeaway was set an alarm or put it on your calendar. And that's one of the things that I do with my coaching clients, or people that's in my program, is I make them choose a time of the day every single day, put it on the calendar, and that's when you show up for you. And I encourage them or hold them accountable for doing deep breathing exercises. So that way they're addressing their central nervous system. They're able to figure out what their thoughts, feelings, beliefs are. They're looking at what their goals are for that day. Did you meet them yet? Did you not meet them yet? What's happening? And the beautiful part about that was I would have a client, if she was driving and her timer goes off, her alarm goes off, and it's that time, she would pull over on the side of the road and take that time for her. If she was in a call, like a meeting or something at work, she would say, hold on, y'all, I'll be right back. And she would take that time for her. When you set a time to prioritize yourself, you make you your number one priority, and nothing else can get on that calendar but you showing up for you in that moment. And that was one of the transformative activities or behaviors, I should say, or even healthy habits that she incorporated within our 8 weeks of working together at that time. And it was beautiful to see, because then people started seeing her who was in the car, and you got to pull over now and you seeing her doing her deep breathing stuff. Now it's, oh, you taking your me time? Well, let me get into it too. You know, and they start respecting the fact that they see you showing up for you in that way. And now they want to be a part of it because they see how it's making you feel good. And so when you say take that moment for yourself, you identify, pick a time of the day where every single time throughout your calendar or your week that you normally know that you can just have that time for yourself. Make that time, put it on the calendar, set you an alarm, and start showing up for yourself every single day. When she said pray, if you're not a praying type of person and your praying looks more like meditation, episode 44 with it talked about taking a minute just to be still.
Yes.
And use your senses to just observe what's around you, or smell,
mindfulness,
or feel, or just get to a place where you're still with it. And if you don't know how to do that, I used to do guided meditations, put something on so they can guide me through this experience until I'm able to just be still and be able to silence my thoughts in order to just say, hey, I'm here right now. I can wiggle my fingers. I can wiggle my toes. I can find where I'm tensing my body and relax while I'm doing the deep breathing. So write down what it is, try it out. And even on another episode with Mr. High Life Film, he said he needed to start changing his life. So he just said 10 minutes a day, he just started walking.
That's
10
it.
minutes. And then over a while, the time increases. Because now as you consistently show up for yourself, you're starting to love how you feel showing up for you. You're starting to love how your endorphins are starting to flow. You're starting to feel the changes inside of your body and how it looks and feels to even just get up and go and do what you say you're going to do for you. It shifts for your mind, but also it starts becoming that habit, because it's now like, why wouldn't I show up for myself? So I like that you made it plain to a point where you just said, just do one thing. You can choose to do it for that one day and then say, you know what, I like that. Let me do it again. Mm-hmm. Or you can say, I'm going in for this for a week. Somebody hold me accountable. But guess what's first on your accountability? Your alarm, your calendar that said, I'm intentional about doing this and I'm intentional about showing up for me. So I'm grateful for what you just said, to give people just an idea of what it can look like. And because and honestly, Laura, I feel like too many people think they have to get someplace too fast. That they forget about the simple things because they're looking for that quick fix or that hurry up because I need to change all the things about my life to hurry up and get this. And it's not going to last if you're not patient with yourself to do it one step at a time. But before you step, you had to crawl. Mm-hmm. And before you crawl, you had to be able to lean and just sit up by yourself. So don't speed through life when you know that you have an abundant life. Appreciate the everyday that you get and do something for you. Love you, show up for you, but just be grateful for what you do have. So then that way, you know, you're going towards more.
Absolutely.
And that's just the vibes that both of us have as life coaches, to let you know, because we're all about that forward progression and what life looks like, moving forward. But you gotta be intentional about this thing. So here we go. What is the most valuable lesson you've learned on your journey, Coach Laura? And how do you hope it will inspire others?
Ooh. The most valuable lesson that I learned, I would have to say, is the power that I carry.
Mm,
Again, as you navigate the journey, seriously, as you navigate the journey, I said it before, you start to really become aware and familiar with who you are and what you're really made of, right? I never thought it was going to come a day and time where, oh, I don't eat a certain thing or I don't do a certain thing. Now my life is completely different. Completely different. People will ask me, oh, so you going to work out? Oh, I know it's your time to go ahead and sit down and quiet. Yes, I need a minute. I'll holler at you in a second. But you don't realize the power you carry unless you tap into yourself. So you learn that along the way. And one of the most valuable things for me was just saying, like, yo, I really am tough. Like, I really am that girl. Like, I really can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I'm outside. Like, listen, if whatever I want to do, I'm doing it. You'll begin to empower yourself just by seeing the strides that you make by building those healthy habits. It's going to show itself approved every time. So I think that's one of the most valuable things that I learned about myself, which can't be taken or sold for anything. And I think that others who go along in that journey, you'll also realize it for yourself too. Like, you really are a lot stronger than you think. Like, you have the power that God gave you to do any and everything, because again, it's about abundant living. He gives freely.
I love it. And sometimes it just takes that moment to really get to know that
Yeah.
higher power in yourself, to know that you can do it. And once you get to know that higher power, it then starts translating into
Yes.
discipline. And
Yes.
then that discipline starts turn it into determination. And then
Yes.
it just kind of continues to like fester and grow into something. And then all of a sudden you have this movement within yourself of just like self-care and self-love that is just, nobody can tell you anything different. And
Non-negotiable.
it's just that. Agreed. Here we go. So the last two questions. So give some tips or some suggestions for the girl dads or the male role models or father figures, or even, and that's for the younger girls, they're growing up, the 11-year-old Laura, her father. What are some tips or strategies or things? How could fathers be a more supportive role when children are experiencing these types of painful periods and mood swings and nausea, this sickness that starts to show up when the menstrual cycle comes? Because I don't like to call endometriosis like a menstrual health thing, because like we said, it's a whole body condition, but
Right.
that's normally when we start seeing the signs and symptoms that something is wrong on the inside, because it's happening on the outside, of our uterus. So what are some tips and suggestions that we can give those father figures, but then also expand that thought process to those who might be spouses or partners for people as we get older, that are in relationships or marriages, that have these chronic pain conditions and issues, possibly with fertility. Get some insight for these people.
I think for
Let them
me,
know how they can help us.
for me, it's about being compassionate, right? Being compassionate means you meet people where they are. No, you don't have it. No, you didn't go through it. No, God didn't give it to you, or you don't know what it feels like. But at the end of the day, we see the Bible tells us to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. So when you see others going through the struggle, it doesn't matter what that struggle consists of. You have to meet them where they are. So I would say be very sensitive about what your daughter, your wife, your cousin, your mother, whomever is going through, because like I used to say all the time, and I make very light in a joke, like, I didn't ask for this. it was freely given. Right? So as I go through this and I endure it at the best of my ability, you have to understand that I'm not out of reach in my behavior, or I do humbly apologize for the things I may say or go through or whatever I'm experiencing. But in that moment, I need you to just have some compassion and to meet me where I am, because all the support in the world is going to matter as somebody endures and goes through, having a menstrual cycle as a female.
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that. All right. So before we get into the last question, I just kind of want you to give some inspiration, some insight, some words of encouragement to anybody that is struggling with chronic pain, confused with diagnosis of endometriosis, fibroids, polycystic ovarian syndrome, adenomyosis, whatever the health condition may be, as that faith and mindset coach. Just give them a little Laura. Just speak
Yeah.
to them real quick.
Well, to the women out there who are going through this experience, I want you to know that God sees you and you're not alone. You are not alone for the simple fact that you're tapped into this very platform right here, listening to myself and Coach Shivani. If anything, I want to tell you to know this: reach out, talk to somebody, because that's very important. Even if you don't have a support system around you, you have one right here. She's giving you the tools, she's giving you the resources, and she's giving her heart and her, of course, her energy and herself for you to understand that she's here to help you every step of the way. So no matter what, you have a tribe, and your tribe is right here. If you're confused about anything, not understanding, if you need more information, she got you, right? And that's what I mean when I say God hasn't forgotten you. He hasn't, because it was no happenstance that you came across this video. It was no happenstance that you came across this page. It was no happenstance that you came across this podcast. It was intentional. So the same intention that God is asking of you, he's showing you what that looks like. So he's demonstrating exactly what you need in the very moment you need it. So this is not, something that just fell out of the sky and you don't have no understanding of it. You know very clearly, and I know you're in tune with what's going on here. So tap in. It's a whole vibe over here. Coach Giovanni got you, and she has all the information. And the biggest thing for anything is her heart.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Coach Laura. Absolutely. I definitely appreciate that. Y'all, if that resonated with you and you don't ever want to miss a word like that, make sure you hit that notification bell if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and hit that like button and drop some good vibes in the comment. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast distribution platform, please make sure you rate the channel. Be nice. Vibe with me. And then also share this episode with someone else that you believe would benefit from just hearing what we had to share today. So the last and final question, Coach Laura, if you could have a meal with any historical figure, who would it be and what would you all eat?
Ooh, it would be Oprah. It would be, oh, absolutely. It would be Oprah. And I want to talk about her journey for sure. And I want to eat the food that she's eating after this whole Weight Watchers incident. I want to use her chef and everything. I want to know what's going on in your pantry, sis. Right? Like, I want to chop it up on some real stuff. So it will most certainly be Oprah.
Okay. Thank you for that. Go ahead and tell the people where they can find you, connect with you, and tap in with your services or products.
Absolutely. You can clearly see on the screen on Instagram at Coach Laura Speaks Life, as well as Facebook, Laura Speaks Life, website www.lauraspeakslife.coach. Feel free to connect with me on all of the platforms, LinkedIn as well, Laura Speaks Life, and I got you to support you along your journey.
Y'all, it has been an absolute pleasure having you all tune in to this good, vibrant conversation and this journey of strength with endometriosis with Coach Laura Speaks, also one of my devastating divas, Soras. Y'all, please make sure you check out her content. Reach out to her if you are feeling her vibe and you need some help, or you know somebody who might benefit from that as well. Sharing is caring. And if you're here and you're hearing, make sure you allow people to get value from that. Y'all, we love you. We thank you. If you are needing any type of product, she talked about being in debilitating pain, hot water bottle, weighted blanket, uterine massage belt. Those products are available to you on the website. Click the link in the description of this video, as well as some good vibes for vibration merch to continue to support the movement. Y'all, it's been another amazing episode on the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast. It's your healthy habits and lifestyle coach, Shobani. Thanks for vibing with us, y'all.